Hey, good morning, guys. We've got 2 weeks left of online learning, so 2 weeks and then a week of assessments. So we're nearing the end now. I really appreciate the work and the connection that you guys have brought to the class, even though we're not physically together. I hope that you've gotten something out of the course, or maybe more than something. Maybe you're getting a lot out of it. Um, so this week is a chance to look even deeper and sort of wrap up our climate change unit. And we're going to look specifically at what is happening on a political level. So, in terms of what's going on in Ontario and what's going on in Canada in general. A little bit of history on the climate change movement. In 2002, Canada joined what was called the Kyoto Protocol, and Kyoto was a city in Japan where the meetings took place. A lot of countries in the world agreed to reduce global uh, greenhouse emissions, but the the goals were a little bit too ambitious, so a lot of countries have dropped out of that, including Canada. So in 2006, Canada essentially admitted that they could not meet their targets and basically broke out of the Kyoto Protocol. Okay, that's been replaced by provincial goals. So at a provincial level, each province has said this is what we're going to try to achieve. So Ontario specifically came up with a plan called Go Green, and our plan in Ontario is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 80% by 2050. So that's about 30 years from now, and we're heading for an 80% reduction. That's the current goal. Okay, we're going to try to do that in a number of ways. So um, one big way is we closed in Ontario. We closed the 4 remaining coal-fired power plants. So in 2014, the last coal plant was taken offline. I think it was in Thunder Bay, and those 4 plants closing meant the equivalent of 7 million cars worth of greenhouse gas emissions. So that was a significant change. Um, the other ways that Ontario plans to reduce its greenhouse gas emissions is through a lot of grants, so incentives. So homeowners can apply for energy retrofit grants. So if you're doing a renovation at home, if you're adding a new furnace and new windows, insulation. So myself in our home, we put a new furnace in, we added insulation. Um, and we've got thousands of dollars back from the government. You have to do an energy audit before and an energy audit after the renovations to prove that those renovations actually made a difference. Okay, another way that Ontario is going to meet those goals, or hopefully going to meet them, is through public transit. So there is a big push to increase the amount of trains and buses and for people to take instead of driving their own individual cars around. Um, Another initiative is to increase carbon sinks. So a tree is a really simple carbon sink, a place for CO2 to be absorbed and removed from the atmosphere. So Ontario has a goal of planting 50 million trees all throughout Ontario, and you can actually apply if you have an acre of land that you want to reforest. You can apply for a grant to do that. So they'll pay for young trees um, to be put into that a minimum of 1 acre on your land. Um, as long as you don't, of course, intend to cut those trees down at any point in the future. Uh, there was also an $8 billion deal met with Samsung. So Samsung has agreed to install 2,500 megawatts of electricity generating capacity through solar panels and wind. And with that comes 16,000 jobs in Ontario. So that was an $8 billion deal. And you'll see wind farms and solar farms popping up around Ontario. There are grants for electric vehicles. So there used to be one of the largest grants in the world. $14,000 was available in Ontario, and now it's down to about $5,000, and the car has to be under $45,000 to reach that. So Tesla makes a base Model 3 that is $44,999, so just under that limit. and you can get $5,000 back if you buy that car. It's still an expensive car, but over the long run you'll be saving on fuel and of course a little bit less emissions. There is another video which I'm going to share which talks about the hidden costs and hidden emissions on things like electric cars. So it's an interesting video that you'll watch next. Okay guys, I'm going to ask you a few questions about this video, and that's essentially going to be today's assignment. I hope you're doing well, and we will connect with you again throughout the week. Okay, have a good one.